Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I know there's still quite a few people joining us, and that's great. My name is Lisa Jordan. I'm the Managing Director of the IEA, and I'm also the Executive Director of the Executives Association in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if I haven't met you yet, hello. I look forward to meeting with you, and I just want to thank everyone for joining us on this webinar right before the holidays. I know it's a super busy time, but this webinar got a lot of response. It sounds like all of us have a lot of junk that we need help organizing, is what I took to mean from the amount of registrations. Or maybe just me. Maybe I just have a lot of junk. So anyway, I'm really glad you're here. We are recording this call and we will post it to our YouTube channel later in the week. So in a minute, I'll put that up in the chat so that you can like, subscribe, follow that YouTube channel. So if there's someone that you'd like to share this presentation with later, you can do that. And if you have a great topic that you would like to share with the rest of the IEA, then by all means, reach out to me. I'll put my contact info in the chat too, as we are booking our webinar speakers for 2023. And we do these webinars once a month, and they are free for you to attend and free for you to host. It's a great way to reach business owners all over the US and Canada in the IEA. So with that, I'm going to now introduce Nicole, and forgive me, I'm reading her bio, and I realized when we jumped on the call that it's in first person. So I'm gonna on the fly flip it to third person. So so bear with me. So I'd like to introduce Nicole Kincaid, who's with the Seattle Executives Association. Nicole has always loved organizing, tidying, and putting things right. This odd propensity is her sacred ground. The challenge of sorting things out, junk drawers, thoughts, cupboards, digital information, garages, belief systems, anything that can be unraveled and untangled fascinates her to no end. She thrives on connecting with humans and their spaces. When she was just 18, she landed her first paid organizing client. A friend of her mom's was navigating a brutal divorce, and they hired her to help her go through their house, every nook and cranny. And it took months, but they did it. And that work birthed the name that she still uses for her spin on traditional organizing, which is Stuffology. You can find out more at NicoleKincaid.com. Without further ado, Nicole, take it away.
Hi, everybody. So happy. I was like, why didn't everybody say hi back? Oh, you're all muted. I'm so happy to, thanks Valerie for waving. To be here and to see all the different locations. Let's see, I'm gonna just pop up my chat bar because I am going to invite you to make comments from here as we go throughout the program a little bit. And anyway, I'm just really glad to be here. So yeah, I'm a professional organizer, and I am so thrilled that you're willing to spend this next hour with me and learn about how you can get more organized and what that looks like. And yeah, my spin on it really is different. It's not traditional. And I think once you hear more about what I do, you are going to resonate with it. You're going to like what you hear, because it's going to hit you in a way, it's going to come into you in a way that you're not used to hearing. So what we're going to do in this one precious hour we have together is, here's my plan. I'm going to share a little bit about who I am and why I do what I do and how I got into it, so you can sort of see the perspective from where I'm coming from. And then we're going to explore, what is this Stuffology? What is this unique version of clutter clearing that I talk about? And then most importantly, how can Stuffology help you? Maybe some of you have had some not so great attempts at trying to get organized in your life, or have even felt like you maybe had failed. So one of the takeaways from this webinar, I promise you, is that I can't teach you everything about Stuffology in 1 hour, but I am going to teach you how to get started. And that might be perhaps the most important thing I can impart to you in this 1 hour. Is just, how do we get started, right? And if you like what I have to say, and if it does resonate with you, and you are like, yes, this really makes a lot of sense, at the end of the hour, I'm going to invite you to come into my course that starts on January 10th. And it's called Stuffology 101, your 5-week journey to organizing and decluttering. And it's a 1 hour class once a week for 5 weeks. And I'll say more about that at the end. Okie dokie. All right. So I thought it would be fun to start off my presentation with a picture of my adorable dogs. That is Daisy on the left, and that's Doogie. And they're super cute, and I just really adore them. And I always like it when people do their own presentations and share about their pets or their kids, but I don't have children, so this is my little family. And a little bit about me. I live in Seattle, Washington, and I love it here. I moved back here in 1997, and I've been lucky enough to do a lot of global traveling and see a lot of areas of the United States. But you know what? I just love the Pacific Northwest so much. And part of what I want to tell you is that I grew up kind of in a odd home. Like we moved around a lot. I went to 13 elementary schools, and I went to four junior high schools. And in the 8th grade, I finally moved in with my dad, who lived in Sacramento, California. And so there was no more changing schools at that point, which was really great. Because I mention that because a lot of us have had circumstances in our life that have shaped how we relate to our homes and our spaces. And mine was very much shaped by my moves around, by all of our moving around, right? So I'll say more about that in a second, but I went on to go do my my undergraduate work at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And then I moved back to Seattle, like I said, in 1997. And in 1999, I completed this postgraduate program in at Bastyr University called Spirituality, Health, and Medicine. So right now, my biggest side endeavor that I'm doing is that I am writing a book. And what am I writing a book about? I'm writing a book about Stuffology, of course. So that is going to be something that is going to, like, I'm just really excited about it. And then the other kind of one little weird propensity about me is that I people at Seattle executives and always tease me about it, but I really like to cold plunge. So even year round, I really like to go to the Puget Sound and get in the cold water and just spend about 10 minutes soaking in the cold water. It feels really good. I wouldn't do that if I lived in Alberta though. Too cold. All right, let's get down to business, right? So I am going to, hang on one second. I do the thing, I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment so I can see you guys. So I do this thing called organizing, clutter clearing, home editing is the new term people are using in the field, right? And then if you go to my website, or you've heard me use the word Stuffology, that's what I call it. And that'll make more sense as I go along, okay? But I have a true confession. When I think about organizing and clutter clearing, you know, like if I wasn't one, if this wasn't like who I am, I honestly think, wow, that just sounds so boring. Like, what a drag, you know, spending time with people, like going through all their stuff all day long. Like, no way, no thanks. But, you know, like I don't often show up on a lot of people's Christmas lists, I guess you could say, as the thing that they want. But the thing is, I've never really thought about organizing clutter clearing as awful or a drag at all. I've always thought it was really revealing, freeing, liberating process that we can all go through, right? In fact, for me as a kid, it really kind of saved me. All that moving around was really ungrounding, but organizing and setting up my bedrooms was really, it gave me a way to like order my life and create a safe space in kind of this turbulent family dynamic that I lived in, right? And yeah, I've always thought that organizing and clutter clearing, while sadly positioned in the tidying up, cleaning category, it fits way more accurately, at least the way that I approach it, into the transformational self-discovery classification, okay? But maybe you're thinking, like, I don't really care about that. I just want my house to not be a mess. How do I get started? I want to be able to park in my garage again. I just want to be able to find my stuff. I really, really get that. And that is where we're headed, okay? But my approach is a bit unique and it's really effective. And I've had 30 years to time test it, okay? And it's not the same as traditional clutter clearing or organizing. And by that, I mean that I really happen to think and believe that your home reflects you. So stay with me here for a moment because I think that our homes show us who we are, right? They show us where we've been, what we love, what we like, where we want to go, and who we want to become. Okay. And it's this ideology that has shaped and guides how I work with my clients, right? So if that's true, then what does your home say about you? Okay. So I have a question for you. And this is where, if you want to, you can get ready to share in the comments if you want. You don't have to, but I want to ask you a question. So my biz tagline is love the home you live in, right? So every time I stand up or share something like at a Seattle executive meeting, I say, hi, I'm Nicole Kincaid, blah, 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 love the home you live in. But I'm really interested in your reply to this question. I'm interested in knowing if you love the home that you live in. I want to do this exploration with you that's going to really get you to answer this question. So here, just for a moment, I just asked for you. Oh, okay, I can put up chats. Sorry. Okay. So I want you to imagine for a moment that if you want to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to. But I want you to imagine that you are standing out, like say you just arrived to your home at the end of the day. Okay. And you're standing outside your home and you're opening up your front door and you're getting ready to walk in. I want you to, with your mind's eye, just roam your, like, I don't want to say roam because that's coming later, but go through your, like meander through your home. And I want you to feel how your home feels to you. Okay. I want you to really like go through the different areas, go through your bedroom and your living areas and pantries and kitchen. And I want you to like be really honest with yourself. Like, how do you feel about your home? Okay, like have that sense. Like if you're not breathing right now, you can start breathing. And then what I want you to do is I want you to pick a number on a scale of 1 to 10. And the number 1 is it like, I don't like my home, like no bueno, like I am really distressed here. It does not feel good. It's just bleh, like I don't like it. And number 10 is you love the home you live in, like you love it, love it, love it. You know, live there forever, or maybe not forever, but you really love your home. Okay. And I want you to come up with that number. Okay. Like I said, oh, thank you people for sharing your number. So this little exercise really, oh, thanks, 3s, 8s, 7s. Thank you for sharing that. It's really vulnerable of you. And I'm curious, if your number is hovering in between a 1 and a 7, why? Like, right? Like, it's a worthy question, and I mean it without any judgment at all, right? I'm just curious about how come our homes aren't in this range of where we really feel like we really like being in these spaces. Because I alluded earlier to the fact that our homes are wired to enliven us and inspire us and represent our hopes and our dreams and who we want to be. Thank you. I like it. 5 with potential for more. Yes. And if our homes don't if our homes aren't representing a higher number, like the way that we really want it to feel, the way that we want to feel in our homes, then how do we get there, right? How do we find this magical place? Okay. So the journey often starts with your stuff. What I have found is that often what's in the way of the home that you live in and the home that you want to live in is your belongings. It's your objects, it's your things. It's not good or bad, it's just information. It's just pieces in this ginormous puzzle, right? So then one of my questions becomes, why do we have what we have, right? No, again, no judgment. Just why do we have what we have? Why do you have what you have? And see, I don't really get hung up when I go and work with clients on how many pairs of jeans you have and if you haven't fit into them in a decade, or if and I'm not going to make you give away your stuff because it doesn't bring you joy, right? I mean, that is just way too simplistic. I mean, we humans are complex, dynamic beings, have this whole range of experience. Our homes should reflect that in a really honest way, okay? And sometimes we've lived in our homes for so long, we kind of get like blinded to what is going on in our own environment. We don't know how it's impacting us anymore. We just have the feeling. We stop liking to spend time in certain areas of our home, right? We just don't feel good. So, or maybe we don't know. We don't know how, we know we don't feel good, but we don't know how to fix it exactly. Okay. So, the funny thing is that it's not the lack of desire or resources that prevent people from calling me and getting after it, right? The number one reason people don't call me and they don't do this work, does anybody have any guesses? The number one reason that people don't do this work, it's so true, shame is so high on the reasons it is. And the number one reason, I would say that's like number 1.5, honestly. The number one reason people don't do this work is overwhelm. They decide, they get so stuck. I don't know where to start. I have had people who are like running Fortune 500 companies and like have, 6 kids and are just like doing like parent of the year type job, they are just, and that they just cannot approach their space because it's so overwhelming. And then we're in that environment, we just short out, right? And then overwhelm decides to have a party with buzzkill number reason 2, the voice that says, I should be able to do this myself. No, you really shouldn't be able to do it yourself. I mean, we hire professionals to cut our hair and to, grow big muscles and clean our houses and work on our car and do our taxes and sort out our emotional issues. So why not get help with the one precious space on the planet we call home, right? We can make it feel anything and make it be anything we want to. So why don't we get help with this? We spend so much time here too, correct? So the thing is, you are truly going to feel so much better when you are living in a home that feels like you, okay? And sometimes we need a little help figuring that out. See, I don't really endorse cliche rules like you need to hang your shirts a certain way, or you have to have all your Tupperware lids together, or any of that nonsense. You know what's more interesting than that? You. What makes sense to you? And do you know something else? Most people don't know because they haven't spent time in that inquiry. So we get caught in the trap of buying systems and gadgets and whatnot that don't even work for who we are. I mean, honestly, people, there are these engineers that live like in Bangladesh or wherever, and they're like banging out shoe organizers and ways for you to organize your LaCroix inventory. And they're in Bangladesh. They don't even know you. They've never even met you. My point is that, like, why are we buying all these things that people that invented that that we saw on Pinterest because we just think it's going to solve it. You know, we just don't know a different way. No big deal. We just don't know. My point is, you really do have your own systems, your own way of doing things. And I have spent most of my life observing that in people and for people, and then helping them build that in their own homes. And I'm going to teach you a little something on how to get started in figuring this out for yourself. Okay. But let me tell you a quick story before we do this exercise. It's going to blow your mind. And I want to tell you a story about a woman I worked with named Fern. When I was 19, this gal hired me, and she had just moved into a new condo and she loved it. But then after, and she hired me to do her whole unpacking thing, right? So I did. She moved in and I unpacked her. And then she had called me a couple months later and she said, Nicole, can you come back over? I need you to do your magic. I go, yeah. So she went off to work, and I would spend like half a day like organizing her whole home for her. Okay, great. And then I'd leave and it would look amazing. But then a couple months later, she'd call me again. Oh, come back. Oh, come back. Like, oh, it's gotten all funny. Do your magic. So I'd come back and I thought one day, this isn't working. I go back to her condo over and over, and it's always completely undone, almost like I'd never been there in the first place, right? So the thing is, what had been happening is I had been setting up her home as if I lived there. And let me tell you, it looked great, but it wasn't great because it didn't reflect anything about Fern. In fact, I didn't really know anything about her. That's why I work with clients the way that I do now. I teach them to self-observe. I point out things that you can't see for yourself about how you are in your own environment. And I keep you on track, okay? You are this mystery. I mean, look at your glorious mess you have. Yay! Let's see what's there. Let's do this. I love messes. They're so informational. But I don't leave everything up to you to figure out on your own, of course. You are the genie in the bottle, for sure. But you need help getting out. So for 30 years, I've been evolving this work and my methods, and so that I can efficiently help people create spaces that are going to work for them when it's time for me to leave and go home. Okay? So let me give you an example of what I mean by a tool. This isn't the exercise we're going to do. It's just a tool, because this is one of the things that people tell me all the time. Oh, you know what? I was thinking about this issue in my home, and then I remembered what you said because of this. It's called departmenting. Like I said, people tell me all the time, this makes so much sense. And this is what I teach. So when you go to the grocery store, you expect to see the bananas with the fruit and vegetables, right? And the cereals in the cereal aisle, correct? That's what I call departmenting. And it's actually how our brains naturally organize around like things, okay? So one of the things that I do with clients when we're sorting is I help them get like things bundled together so that they can decide what goes together in their world. And it's not black and white. You might not think like that some things go together that other people do. But most of the times we have broad categories. And this is one of the reasons things have become so dismantled is life goes on and then things get really enmeshed. And then we just get flooded and we can't really see apart to the inherent systems. Basically what happens is our homes start to go into syntropy or disorder, right? The key is to be really conscious about that, to really call out what goes with what, and then to teach your family or with whomever you live to also abide by those systems. So that's departmenting, how like things go together, right? Pretty easy concept, but really powerful when we apply it. So, okay, now I'm gonna get out of here for a second so I am going to um, now teach you the very first step in getting started with clutter clearing and organizing. You all are going to have access to the recording. If you want to take notes, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I think you're going to really literally resonate with how much this falls out of the realm of judgment and self-criticism and shame, and gets you into a way where you are going to feel activated, and heck, you might even like and enjoy what you're going to do next. Okay. All right. Everybody ready? Take a deep breath. Here we go. So this is an exercise I teach. This is basically week 1 of my course, and it's called Roam Your Home. Okay. So roam your home is important. It's a little bit important for me to acknowledge the setup and what I'm talking about, because we're going to do things differently. I think a lot of people have a lot of content, like they have a lot of ideas around what is clutter clearing and in organizing, and a lot of like, oh, you got to spend all this time on the weekends, and oh, we have this weekend to do that. This is it, only this weekend. Or we do it under stress because we have some sort of transition that comes into our life. Like we have an unexpected, maybe even like a relationship ending, or someone falling ill, or we have someone unexpectedly that needs to move in with us, or a relative, like, okay, stress is really terrible for the organizing and decluttering process, because it gets you into panic, and it actually helps you make bad decisions, not good decisions about what you really want to be doing with your things, right? And I have this really funny rule, and I'm going to tell it to you right now so you can embrace it and really adopt it, because I abide by this rule like truth, truth, truth. And you're going to love it, because it's going to apply to it's going to apply to roam your home when you get into it. Maybe later when we're done with this call, you might start it, or whenever you finish your day or whatever. The rule is called, you get to keep whatever you want. Okay, so when I tell people that, their systems literally relax so much. You don't have to get rid of anything you don't want to get rid of. You really don't. You get to keep whatever you want to keep. But Stuffology really teaches you how to be conscious and make good decisions out of stress, and from a place of like, what do I really want to do with my things? Like what is really the truth here? Okay, roam your home. So it's going to train you to do little bits at a time. And the reason that is important is because you're building a container for this organizational system, this organizational process that I'm talking about, to live in. We're going to undo outdated, antiquated notions tied to stress, overwhelm, not having enough time, being wrong, feeling bad, all that. And it settles down our nervous system. Have you ever noticed when you're in like fight or flight survival mode, you just can't even think straight? That's how most people do clutter clearing. And then it makes us want, okay, so doing it in this new way, it makes you want to go back and do more. It really does. It makes it not be so scary, and it takes the pressure off. It releases fog, and it releases it releases the element of overwhelm, and it keeps you in the game. And like I said, it's even a little fun. Okay. So what is this magical tool? All right. So roam your home. We're going to start it in the same way that we did the exercise, where you figured out your number of your home. Okay. But then we're going to do a little twist, and here it goes. So you are not literally doing this, but you are thinking about your home, And you are going to, like a little bubble coming out, like those little thought bubbles, you are going to meander through your home. And you're just going to, not with any pressure or anything like that, but you're going to put a number on the different areas of your home. So just imagine with your awareness that you are touring your home. You're going through and you're like, and this is like from a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being bad and 10 being great. And so you're like living room, like, ooh, 5, bedroom, oh, 2, oh, family room, oh, 7, I like that. So that's what you're going to do, okay? You're going to take a moment. You can just have a second to like drop into it. Like if you're feeling any irritation or aggravation or annoyance coming up, that's part of the process. It's okay. But you're just gonna just let those bubbles come up in all the areas of your home one by one. You can even select your garage if you want to go in to like have your awareness go in there. So basically, what you've done is you have a whole room, a whole house full of all these bubbles that have numbers in them. Okay. Everybody there? Let's give you a few more seconds. And then what I want you to do is I want you to pick one of the rooms that is in the range of a 4, 5, 6, or 7. Okay. And the reason that we're not picking an 8, 9, or 10 is because those rooms already feel good. So we're not going to work on them. Okay. And the reason we're not picking a 1, 2, or 3 is because those rooms are way overstimulating you already. That's like high irritation level. Okay. So we're not going to go for, we're going to do a softball right now. I call it like, we're going to like we're going to ease you into this. So imagine, for example, that you hadn't been to the gym in a really long time and now you're going to go to the gym and you're so excited, you're stoked, you get your gym bag ready, you're playing music on your way to the gym, go to the gym, and you just do all the stuff. You're there for hours and hours, right? You just try all the weights, all the stuff, and then you leave the gym and you feel what? Terrible, right? You've got to build up a muscular, like you've got to build up a muscular system for everything that you do that's new in life. And the same thing with your stuff. Why? Because our stuff has meaning to us. And sometimes we don't know what we're going to come up against in it. And it brings up feelings and emotions or irritation and agitation. So we're going to bracket that, right? We're going to give ourselves a way so that we feel good about what we've done, not crappy. Okay. So now what I want you to do next is everybody picked one room, right? Hands up. Yep. Okay. I want you now to be in that room or that area you picked. Maybe you picked the hall closet. It doesn't have to be a literal room. All right. And this is really important. I want you now to do what I call scoping down. And what I mean by that is you might think, oh yeah, we're going to do this room. This is going to be, because this is going to be like what I'm calling your home. This is how you get started. This is how you always get started. Every time you get overwhelmed and freaked out about your stuff, and you're freaking out,
My gosh, enough.
you are going to do roam your home. Okay. Then I want you to scope down even more inside of this one room. So say, for example, you picked your kitchen. Yay, you want to do your kitchen. Okay, you got to go way smaller than that, right? I want you to pick one drawer in your kitchen, or I want you to pick your refrigerator. And then I want you to pick either the freezer or the refrigerator part, right? I don't want you to pick the whole thing. And the reason is because what I just said about needing to work up. We got to undo a lot of notions. And I'm assuming if you're on this call, it's because you need help. And maybe you haven't been quite as successful as you've wanted to be in the past with doing this, right? So here's your help. You got to scope it down. I know what you're thinking right now. This is not, I got this. We're like, do a drawer, easy peasy. No, it's not really that easy peasy, because if it were, like, we wouldn't have these issues, right? So you're going to go, whoop, you're going to scope it down and get really micro. And then you are going to have your spot you're going to work. Now, I'm just curious, would anybody, if you want to share like what micro area you chose, you can say so in the chat. I would love to know. And then, because I can give you a clue of like some of the things that people pick sometimes, like hallway closets. And then I'm like, that's great. Maybe pick the upper area of just the hallway closet. Or someone might say, my own closet in my bedroom. I'm like, that's nice. Maybe just your shoes. Okay. So I'm always endeavoring for people to do less, because what happens is once you get into your stuff, you're going to realize that it's not so black and white. Like, our minds are going to like want to try and fool us into thinking that we can do more than we actually can do. But we don't, but our minds don't anticipate that there's all these other side steps. They're going to come up as a part of the process. Okay. So yes. So say, for example, you even picked your car. That's great. That's not like a huge room, but maybe just do your glove compartment or even your trunk or your front seat, right? Your front, I mean, it depends on how your car looks, right? So if you were stuck and really couldn't find an area that you wanted to work, I'll give you some my favorite areas that people do: junk drawer, a coat closet, your wallet. Oh my God, people are astonished when they go into their wallets. I say, oh, do your wallet. And they go, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden, like, I've completely lost everybody's attention because they're like, oh my God, I have a coupon for Starbucks for $50. Like, they just, I mean, you do your wallet, you will be astonished. You'll be like, go from here to like this little flat thing, right? So, okay. Now, the next part of roaming your home is the way that you knock out the nervous system into balance. I mean, the way you calm down your nervous system and get into greater balance is sometimes we can't just have things be loosey-goosey. We have to put a time parameter around it. We have to say, we're going to do this for this amount of time and no longer, just like when you work out, right? So what you're going to do is you have picked your area and then you've sized it down. And then you have said, okay, I've picked my area, I've sized it down, and now I'm going to spend 2 hours on it, right? No, you're not. You're going to spend like half of the time. Like, just trust me on this, because we really, like, there are so many engines that are going off in our whole, internal ecosystem that we don't anticipate. So many decisions that need to be made, right? So you've got to did half your time. So maybe you said, I'm going to spend an hour, like maybe do 30 minutes. Or if you say, I'm going to pick 45 minutes, great. Maybe just do 22 minutes or whatever it is, but have a night. And then as you do it more and more, you can work up to more times. But you know what? I don't even book in-person sessions with people anymore for more than 2 hours, because it's so much information. Everything that we have is so loaded. If you just took one stack of paper off your desk and put it in front of you, the amount of like data that you would be cycling through your awareness is astonishing, right? So anyway, like I said, people always think they can do more and then they get knocked out of the game. And that bums me out. But if you do little bits and you do less, you'll leave what I call gas in the tank and you want to do more. But then I'm like, you're like, okay, what am I doing less of though? Okay, so I can't just like tell you how to find your spot and then tell you how much and then size it down and then tell you how to, to have less time and then not tell you how to do the process, right? So I'm going to give you just the short version of it because there's a lot of components to it that I teach and I want to teach you. But let me just tell you the easy version, the how you get started version. And so the one thing I have to say first is I want you to leave this presentation and go do this. I want you to go find your area, size it down, pick a time, but I want you to do something for me. I want you to do me like a favor. I want you to pick an area for the first time or the first few times. If you've never done anything like this before, which I'm assuming you haven't, I want you to pick an easy area, okay? And by that, I mean, I don't want you to pick an area that's emotionally loaded, okay? What does that mean? You know what that means. Don't pick like the box of your mom's, antiques or the box of old photos or something that is going to be emotionally activating from you. Don't pick that first because we've got some work to do to build up to how we do this, right? And how we like train our systems to like it and to feel safe so that we want to go back. Okay, so do an easy area. Okay, so I'm just thanking you that you're going to do that. You're going to pick an easy area, right? So then the next part is going to be so fun because the next part of Roam Your Home is actually moving into the how. And you are going to stay in your zone, okay? You are not going to be like, oh, what's my kid's toy doing in my area that I'm working with? I'll be right back. I'm going to go return it to their room. We're not going to do that. You are going to you're going to go through your zone and you are going to have receptacles and you're going to figure out what those are. And here are the easy ones: recycle, garbage, go back, donate. You can have 4 bags, line them up: recycle, garbage, donate, go back. And what is a go back? A go back is what I just said. It's when something goes back to somewhere else. But like I said, you've picked your area, you've sized it down, you've picked a really appropriate time. Now you're going to work just in that one area, okay? And you're going to go, whoop, what is this? And as you're looking at your things, you are going to think in your mind, yes, no, or maybe. And you're going to say, am I keeping this? Yes, no, or maybe. And then you will evaluate it. You'll know right away what are the yeses. Oh, yes, I need this because there's some action on it. So it goes back into my stack that I'm working in, or it goes into a go back, like it's maybe like a project, which is a whole other class. Okay. But it's a yes, no, or maybe. And if something's a maybe, it's okay. You can keep whatever you want. You don't have to give away something that's a maybe. You can linger in the maybes. Okay. I mean, I've had really astonishing stories about people getting rid of stuff and they're like, dang, why did I do that? Don't do that. If it's a maybe, it's a maybe. But sometimes just going through more of it and just allowing yourself to get firm in your yes and firm in your no. And then if it's a no, it's garbage or it's recycling or it's donate or it's go back. Staying in your zone and going through that area. Okay. So I love yes, no, maybe. Under my bathroom sink. Ooh, I love that. That's a good one. So many mysteries under the bathroom sinks. Okay, so um, I have one more hot tip for you around the roam your home. And I've gone a little bit beyond your home because I actually introduced to you how you take roam your home and how it is so vital and important to stay in your game, to do this little tiny bit. It completely retrains your nervous system. It gets you like out of like freaking out and thinking that if there's no time, I don't have enough time. Because again, the thing that happens, oh my God, I forgot this item belongs to Aunt Jenny, and now I've got to return this to Aunt Jenny. Or, oh my goodness, I borrowed this book from my friend Jim. So what happens, this is why people get overwhelmed, right? Is all of these other things, it's just one little tiny area, but then all of these actions come up. You got to give, that's why we take little amounts of time, because when you're done with that 20 minutes or whatever it is, you are going to then have what? You're going to have recycling to deal with. You're going to have something that needs to go in the trash. You're going to have some go backs. And then you're going to have maybe some donation items, right? You're going to want to have some gas in the tank to be able to deal with those things so that you feel really good. Yeah, the kids do have so much stuff. I hear you on that one. So that's why you got to leave a little, like, so it feels good. Like, okay, so all of my yeses are going back in my drawer or back in the closet. Like, okay, that systems, how we get to systems is another class. I'm sorry, I can't get into that. But you just put, we would figure out how the things go back, but then you've got to leave a little gap. And this is where people get really bummed because they're all of a sudden their jets are like, boom, I've got all this stuff if they've done too much. Doing little increments, containerizing it with smallness and with time, and having like staying in your zone, having your little receptacles, and then just working through that one area to completion. And then here is my hot tip, okay? Dumping is what I call it, okay? So if you are working in, say, for example, your refrigerator, don't try and just take something out and then go, oh, I'm keeping this, and then put that back and then take the other thing out and go, oh, this goes away. No. Okay, I've been doing this for 30 years. Let me tell you this, it will save you so much. If you're going to work and say just your refrigerator part, you got to take everything out and then have like a little area to work, okay? Everything comes out. The junk drawer, go take that junk drawer, go put a sheet on your bed, whoop, everything comes out of the junk drawer, right? You have a pile of paper, everything goes away, and then it's just the pile of paper. If you've got a coat closet, you're working with coats, take the whole thing of coats out, lay them on your couch one by one. It does something psychologically that helps so much in the process of you discerning what is going to go back in that precious space. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to go back to my slides here for 1 second. You're like tired of looking at me, right? Just kidding. Woo, share screen. Okay. So, what are the benefits of doing this? You'll feel so much better. You'll save money. If not now, when? If not you, who, right? And it's way easier and more fun with help. Not because of me and my process, because about how you will feel getting supported in the process. Okay, that's not going forward. And then you might need some help. So get help. Find someone like me, or find a professional organizer, or don't ask your friends. That's not help. Like, get professional help. It's hard because they have opinions, right? So I know it's hard to do on your own, and and so maybe you've been saying you're going to get to it someday, when, right? About the, I want to tell you the story, but I'm looking at time. Okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I had a gal who one time um, did not want me. She hired me and she did not want, she was just feeling really overwhelmed. So we just started really doing little, and then I came across this big container of envelopes and mail and this and that. And I said, oh, we got to go through this. And she goes, oh, I know what all that is. I know what all that is. It's all junk. You can just throw it right away. And I'm like, I go, you know what? I go, I like you so much. You're such a great client. I really do. I go, but we've got to go through this because I just want to, this is why, again, sizing it down, right? And she was like this. Like she really didn't want to. She was so mad at me, right? And so I was going through these envelopes and I literally looked in one of the envelopes and I said, you got to come over here. I said, did you know this was here? And she looked in the envelope and it was $50,000 in cash. She had forgotten about it. Why? How could that happen? Because it had been like 4 or 5 years and she'd gotten into a car accident. And then someone else in her life, a family member had died and she was the executor, was a parent or something, or a relative. And then she had gotten all this cash, but then the car accident, it happens. Right? We all live complex, dynamic lives where things happen. She thought that she had taken care of that, where that money was supposed to go, and she was going to have me throw it away. So it's so important to really, if you think you need help, you might need help. You might want help, right? And to go slow and to slow down because sometimes we don't know what we have. Okay, so. Just checking out my notes. All right. I really want to leave time for questions. And so I'm just going to run through the slide and then, so here are some excellent reasons to get on it, right? Who's moving? Why take your old life into your new home? Did you know that people, once they move from one place to another place, statistically, they still get rid of 30% of their belongings after they move? I couldn't believe it. I looked and looked and looked. It's true. Someone did a study on it. Okay, so maybe you want to park in your garage again. You have a storage unit. You're paying for it. You don't know what's in it. The kids left for college. You've got a new baby. You need some home reorganization. Elderly parents, family members, seniors, transition periods. Oh man, where you might need some deeper support, like divorces, new family members. Do an annual refresh. It feels so good, right? And add it to your self-care list. Okay, yeah. So, hey, you guys, I am offering a class called Stuffology 101. It starts on January 10th. It's a Tuesday. I'm going to start it at 5 p.m. PST because I'm hoping some of the East Coasters want to do it, and that's not too late, right? But if you want to join me, I would love that. It's going to be 5 weeks for 1 hour, and then I do an optional to stay on 15-minute Q&A because people have questions or they like to share, and I love the sharing. And it will be recorded. So if someone wants to come on, but they're like, oh, one of those weeks doesn't work, you can record it. And if you want to do it, all you do is go to NicoleKincaid.com under courses. That's it. And for executives, I've got a code for you. It's $275 instead of $325. And all it is Get Organized IEA. Okay. And it's going to be for till Christmas Eve. See what I did there? Christmas presents, right? Okay. So if you want to stay in touch with me, go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. I talk about this kind of stuff in my newsletters. There's a freebie on there that you could also download that talks about these concepts plus more. And like I said, sign up for the course. I love my course. It's so fun. And I use that link. And I'm also on social media. You can find me on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, and that's all on my website if you want to find out more. And in our last few minutes, does anybody have any questions they want to ask? Or Lisa, is there anything that you want to say?
Yeah, no, I was just going to open it up for questions. I thought that was great. And your course is great timing. All those New Year's resolutions, everyone's wanting to get more organized, right? So hope some folks will take advantage of that.
Me too. And I think that oh, I love all these like little one of the people, someone who just took my course, they said that they were watching like a program on, like one of the editing programs, and they're like, oh my gosh, after you're taking your course, watching this TV program is so stressful to me. She's like, your program was so not stressful. And I was like, that is so wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. That's great feedback. It does feel good. These quotes are right. It does feel good to get organized, and everyone wishes they'd done it sooner. That's all very true. Does anyone have any questions? We have just a couple minutes. If you don't want to speak up, you're welcome to put it in the chat. Or you can unmute yourself and ask away. Okay, and if not, I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thanks so much, Nicole. It was great to have you. Let's see, we got a question there. How do you approach a pile of stuff, reading material that we really like a lot, multiple piles? Good question.
One at a time, really. You might need some specific systems just for your reading pile, though. Like maybe, like what I find a lot is that people who have a lot of one thing, they often haven't built enough room for that. They think, oh, I can only have one area for that, or one system for that, or they have it in their mind that they should only, have a little space for it or whatnot. You might need more than one system, or I often say that people who get a lot of one thing, like they have a lot of it coming in, like mail's a perfect thing. They sometimes don't go through it often enough because it builds up so quickly, and they like it. They're like, I love to go through all my mail. So that's a couple of little tips.
Question about, does your course cover things you've inherited things?
Yes. That's
Yeah.
week 3. We definitely go into that in depth. Yeah.
I go through my
It's
parents' house
fun.
sometimes and I'm cringing, thinking, what's going to happen to all this stuff?
It's sticky, but I've got some really good feedback on that. I mean, I've got some really good content on that. So
Right. And then what about, do you have an organizing system for photos that you like?
I personally use bins, right? But I think the thing with photos is that we've been in a big transition process for a long time, because a lot of people they still have a lot of old photos, and
Right.
then we still have a lot of online photos.
Yep.
So the first thing that I do with people is I say, tiny, tiny, tiny little bit at a time, go through your existing photos, but take it little bit, because I'm telling you, I still have like way more photos, but photos are one of the biggest trigger points for people, because it activates so many memory centers in our minds that we can become very emotionally overwhelmed quickly. So little by little, go through your photos. I mean, some people still have the photos in the envelopes that where they have like the negatives and everything. Like, you don't probably need your negatives, right? I mean, like, so go through them little bit at a time, and then see what comes up as far as like what you have left and how much you want to keep, and then and then where do you want them? And do you still want them, where you've had them, or do some of them need to go to someone else? Do you want to start building a system for them to go to your kids? Those are some of the questions that we'll work through.
Great. Thanks so much. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Happy holidays to all, and we will see you in January for the next webinar.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you.